Converting angle measures. Note that 1 degree is, remember, equal to pi over 180 radians. So that's the relationship between degrees and radians. So if we're going to convert here in degrees to radians, we're going to multiply the angle in degrees by pi over 180 degrees. And what will happen is, because the degrees is in the denominator here, the degree symbols will cancel. So convert each of the following to radians and then sketch the angle as well. So for 30 degrees, we can visualize where that is. It's easier with degrees right now for us. So halfway is 45. You want to just make sure you're going less than halfway. And it's very important that you show that you started at the initial side and you moved this way. So you want that directional arrow to show you travel a distance of 30 degrees. You can squeeze it on the inside there too if you want to label it there. So for 30 degrees, we're going to multiply this by pi over 180. And so this would equal 30 pi over 180. You don't necessarily have to write this step out, but I just want to on the first one. So the zeros would reduce down, and this would equal to 3 pi by 18. 3 goes into 18 6 times, so this is equal to pi by 6. Now we had this one on our chart earlier, but it was still, if you don't know that one, you can still find it this way. Let's look at 55 degrees. It's not one of our special angles. Again, when you're drawing this one, halfway is 45, so you want to just make sure you're going a little above half. Remember the top the top is 90, so you want to be careful not to go too far up. So you start at the initial side, put your directional arrow in here, and this is 55 degrees. Okay, let's multiply this by pi over 180 degrees. And the way I remember that the pi is in the numerator and the 180 degrees is that the degree symbols would cancel. So let's actually maybe make a note of that here. That's important. Note that the degree symbols cancel, so you're left with the unit being in radians. So that helps me remember which way to write this. So 55 pi over 180, you can reduce, both of these are divisible by 5. So dividing them by 5, you're going to get 11 pi by 36. This would be considered an exact value. So the reason this is an exact value is because you're not rounding off. We actually usually prefer exact values because it's exactly the answer. You could also put this in your calculator, and you can put this in and put 11, find your pi button. Make sure you use the pi symbol, divided by 36, and you're gonna get 0.95993. 9599 will go to there. This would be an approximate value. Let's look at C, negative 108. So if it's a negative angle, that means you still start at your initial side, but you go clockwise. So you're gonna go, this would be to negative 90, so you're gonna go a little bit past there and draw on your terminal side. So this would be negative 108 degrees. Remember your directional arrow here. So to convert this to radians, you're gonna multiply it by pi over 180 degrees. The degree symbols would cancel, and you're going to reduce this down. The fact that it's negative doesn't change how you do this question. It's still going to be negative. Reduce 108 divided by 180. There are some calculators that help with reducing if you happen to have a calculator, know how to do that. Otherwise, use any reducing strategy, or simplifying, I should say, and you get negative 3 pi by 5. Again, that's the exact value. If you were asked for an approximate value, you would put negative 3 pi by 5, or you know it's going to be negative, but you would put 3 pi by 5 in your calculator. So divide that by 5, and you're going to get 1.8849. So we'll round that to 1.885.